Welcome back. Powerful and influential New York politicians have always made their mark on American politics, but women, especially women of color, had a much tougher time breaking through. Shirley Chisholm helped change that. The Brooklyn native was the first black woman ever elected to Congress. Her trailblazing ways broke down political barriers and opened the door for other female heavyweights like Geraldine Ferraro and Hillary Clinton. Here's an example of her fiery conviction.
At this moment, the hour has come in America when all of us in this room can no longer be the passive recipients of whatever the politics of a nation may decree for us as citizens within this realm. But if we have the courage of our convictions, if we desire to make a contribution to make this nation bring about the fulfillment of the American dream so that it is meaningful to every segment in America.
I get chills hearing that all these years later. This year marks the first time in 40 years that an expanded edition of her biography, Unbought and Unbossed, is back in print. And the editor, Scott Simpson, is here to tell us more about it and the legendary pioneer who inspired the re-release.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, listen, it's a joy to have you in to talk about this.
Well, when you see her speak, you forget that she weighed less than 100 pounds, and you forget that she has such a poised way about her that she's electrifying. She's been called messianic.
You know, the interesting thing is that she, while not forgotten by history, she somewhat faded in our collective memory. Why do you think she's making a resurgence now?
Well, I think post-Barack, post-Hillary, what we saw is, I mean, really what she was paving the way for so long finally came to fruition. You know, now we have the first black woman, the first black person and the first woman running for president. And here in Brooklyn, or here in New York, that's much better known than the rest of the country. But she's still very underknown. It's one of the reasons we came out with this book.
Well, it has an intriguing title, Unbought and Unbossed, excuse me. What does that refer to?
Well, you know, Chisholm was always very clear that while she did hold all of those places in history, she didn't want to be known to be another famous first. What she really wanted to be known for was being unbought and unbossed, making it as far as she did without selling out to anybody.
Yeah, she was unique in that she spoke her mind, which for a politician can sometimes be deadly.
Oh, yeah, and she defied the odds at all points. She spoke her mind when she was a community organizer and paid for it, but defied the odds. She did it in the state legislature and defied the odds, and she did it in Congress and defied the odds.
Now you think about the times she grew up in, which were so racially tumultuous, but she made the statement one time that she actually felt more discrimination for being a woman than being an African American.
She had discrimination from being a woman at every point. I think that quote is played up a bit. She always felt very strongly that her race and her gender were two of her biggest obstacles. But really what it came down to is when she was running for president, when she was running for Congress in Brooklyn, it was the women that turned out for her.
When she won her congressional seat in '69, she beat a Republican candidate. What were the repercussions for the black community, do you think? I mean,
well, that was a fascinating race because that Republican candidate was James Farmer, who was the national chairman of the Congress of Racial Equality. He was a national celebrity in his own right. When she ran for Congress, they ran two very different campaigns. Chisholm was fluent in Spanish and reached out to the Puerto Rican community, but she also knew that women voters outnumbered male voters in the district 2.5 to 1. And that wound up being her margin of victory over James Farmer.
Wow. When she ran for the Democratic nomination for president in '72, do you think she was making a statement, or did she really think she could win?
She was running to make a change. Now, she knew that she wasn't going to win the presidency, but she had a very specific strategy. At that time, it was McGovern and Muskie, and there were several front runners, and she felt like if she could bring enough delegates to the convention, she wanted to bring in over 150, that she could actually make the difference between any one of those top 3 candidates. So her political strategy was a strategy. It wasn't to win, but it was to make the difference between who the winner was.
She was known for her eloquent, fiery speeches and her battles for people in the inner cities. But what she maybe isn't so well known for is how charming she was. There's a story in the book about when she went to visit George Wallace right after he had been shot, to reach out to him.
She, look, it's funny. Her mother, when we think of someone as fiery as Shirley Chisholm, we don't think of how just sweet and nurturing and charismatic and charming she could be. And she was called charming by the people who really disagreed with her the most.
Yeah. Well, ironically, or maybe not, maybe it was delivered on her part, but George Wallace came around to actually help her when she was trying to pull the votes together in Congress for the minimum wage bill, right, for I guess, domestic help or something. And he got the Southern votes for her, so she had an impact on him. Do you think, is there a theoretical line that could be drawn from Obama or from Chisholm to Obama? I mean, or was it so long ago that there were not repercussions?
No,
and we have to be brief on this answer, I'm sorry.
Of course, I understand. No, there's a clear theoretical line between Chisholm and Obama. Without Chisholm, there wouldn't have been Jackson or Sharpton or Mosley Braun or Obama.
Very interesting. We could talk all day about this. Scott Simpson, thanks a lot for coming. I appreciate it. Look forward to reading the book. Coming up after 3 decades, the